We're back, and of course, we're still with Just Africa, and we dived straight into the second segment of the show. And I'm looking at all the bullions because I'm slammed right in the middle. Two beautiful ladies in the house, and of course, they just emerged winners of the Miss Ideal pageant that happened pretty recently. I've got the winner and the runner-up. To my right, I've got Queen Angel, and of course, to my left, I've got Queen Omobolaji. Welcome to Just Africa, and of course, Soup News Television.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glowing because while we were preparing to come on, you two did mention that you had to wade through over 500 contestants and you emerged winners. I don't know how else to say it, but I should just salute to the royalty because that was a long road to be where you are. How does it feel? Let me start from her first.
It's a big honor. It's
Yeah.
a big thing.
Yeah.
I feel really happy, excited. It has always been my dream, passion too, and all of that. I feel really happy, excited, and the world is yet to see me.
Omobolaji, I love the fact that you maintained your name. How does this feel being a queen from the cultural part of it?
I love my name
Yeah.
because Omobolaji means a lot, you know. So I feel excited, I feel honored, I feel fulfilled. It's a dream come true.
And being in this position as a queen, how do you see yourself now? What charisma do you carry? No, because I've seen there's this.
Yes, okay, I see my shoulder pad.
No. I mean, the shoulder pad is straighter now. It's sharper. I can see it.
Yes.
I do like the fact that from feelers that we already got, two of you plan to use your positions now to channel different causes. Which one would you plan to choose?
Mine is Sacred Roots and Beaded Bonds.
Okay.
It's a dedicated project to empowering younger and older generations by educating, cultivating sacred crops, sharing exquisite beaded arts, and sharing cherished traditional foods. Yeah, we go around, we see destitute, we see people that are unable to help themselves.
Okay.
Why can't we help them?
So when you say sacred crops, like what type?
Crops, anything resourceful.
Yes.
Yeah, anything that
So it could
can.
be cocoa, it could be
Yeah,
yam,
exactly.
it could be whatever. So that is
Anything
sacred
that
to common people.
exactly
Okay.
anything that can give back to the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in your pursuit, what do you plan to champion?
Ending period shame.
Oh wow. Okay. I mean, in case I just yesterday we were talking about gender-based violence. So essentially, you're looking at things that will promote women.
Yeah, exactly. Women awareness, you know, self-awareness. Also, encourage women to, go to school.
Okay.
Yes, because I know here in Africa, almost like 1 million plus teenage girls are less privileged because of menstruation.
Yeah.
They could hardly go to school because they feel, oh, I have my period now, I won't be able to go further, or probably because they don't have certain tools like pads to. So I feel ending period shame would actually be a very, very big one. Yes, and I'm working towards it.
I do see that Miss Ideal Pageant had tried so hard to bring young girls and give you confidence in doing what you're doing.
Yes.
However, did anything come about in the conversation about promoting the culture and different cultures that we have? I mean, from the pageant, were you guys told to dress a certain way or look a certain kind of way? Because at the end of the day, it's an African pageant, as it were. But did any of them used to, try to promote the culture, or do you plan to do that with your platforms?
Yes, exactly. Yes, why not?
So, I mean, you guys are on social media, right? And you already... you smile, I just give up on your ability. Yes. Okay, so do you use your platforms to also champion causes for Africa? I mean, through social media?
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now, due to the fact that I'm just starting,
Okay.
I believe I can do that.
Okay.
So I'm just starting based off of my country right now. Then, if time goes on, we go more, we go higher.
Thank you for actually bringing that, because we're going to lead into the next question. So, beyond Ideal Africa now, what do you hope to do next? What, are you planning to go into another pageant, or are you just promoting this for a specific period? Because who knows? Maybe you go for Miss World and represent in it. Represent Nigeria, right? So what are the plans beyond now?
That's a secret. Wait till you see.
You guys don't want our viewers to know where to track you and follow your trajectory?
Don't worry, we'll keep you posted. We have social medias. You could always we're always posting back to back. So don't worry. When the time is right, you obviously know what we're doing next.
Okay, fantastic. And I would really love you two to share words of encouragement to younger people who are looking to do something similar, because I am sure somebody gave you this platform to become what you are today.
Yes.
So, share words of encouragement to people.
To young girls who are looking to be like me, listen and listen carefully. Go for what you want.
Yeah.
Perform it and make it your reality. To be a modern woman who lives in the now, who questions, who asks, who challenge, who stands for her right and for the right of others. I am a modern woman. I am representing Nigeria and the world in general. Thank you.
Spoken like you literally wrote it down to write the poem. All right, Omobolaji.
Yes, I'd tell ladies out there or teenage girls out there to be patient and also kindness, because I believe sharing kindness actually promotes joy, promotes love, and also reminds us of our shared humanity. Thank
All right,
you.
so if I was to wrap up with this question by asking, what do you do beyond pageantry as a hobby?
As a hobby,
Because I'm sure everybody looking like, what else do they do? Is it just to come and look a certain way and then walk a certain way? What else do you do that gives you pleasure?
I'm a born model.
Okay, but you obviously do other things too, as a hobby.
Okay, I dance.
You dance?
I
What
dance.
kind of dance? Salsa dance? Skilly kind of dance?
Afro, actually.
Okay.
I dance. I do a little spoken words, but my first spoken words has not been published yet, so.
So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to that one, innit?
Yeah.
Okay, Omobolaji, what else do you do on the side of that pageantry?
I'm a CEO of a logistic business.
Logistics.
Yeah.
Oh, CEO. Wait. So your titles are so many. I mean, I don't my heart. I don't have one.
And also a medical student,
Okay.
a dancer, so
You dance too.
exactly.
At this point, I should go learn dancing. Who knows? You know, make me look fit like this. But I mean, I know it's a pleasure always having models come speak and then express themselves. But then again, you definitely cannot go if you don't mention what challenges most people might face if they want to come into an industry like this. I mean, if anyone that you spotted in your journey.
The first challenge you actually face is people telling you no.
Okay.
I've been rejected so many times. Before I decided to contest for Miss Ideal Nigeria, I contested for Miss Nigerian Teen twice.
Okay.
Before I decided, okay, let's move further. You get lots of rejection. People will break your bones. They will put you down. But you just have to be determined. Go for what you want, perform it, and make it your reality.
Did you see any other challenge that you feel, okay, we can surmount if certain kind of policies or whatever are fixed?
I didn't get the question wrong.
So there are challenges we know. I mean, she mentioned some of them, like people would
Say no.
Yeah, say no to you, reject you. But other challenges which you definitely tell us that you've seen, are there ways that we can fix those challenges?
Yes, there's so many ways, because I feel not only those that have been in the industry. I believe, I know that most people that have been in the industry are the ones that get the bigger gig.
Yeah.
Then those that actually come, like the upcoming ones, they tend to like, no, like she said. You
Yeah.
know. So I feel if there's a way they can actually give other, okay, because I believe if there's a way they can give opportunities to the upcoming ones, because I know that there are better ones coming, our new generation, obviously. So if there's a way we can give opportunity to them, not just the ones that have been there
already,
and other, awareness. There's so many.
Let me ask this very off question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because somebody will out there thinking, okay, this thing is this really a job? Is being a model lucrative?
Wow, of course.
They said, wow, they said, so I'm getting two different reactions to it. Is there money in it?
Yes, there's actually money in
There's
it.
a lot of money.
A lot.
And we tend to even, showcase who you are, because modeling is actually, it's a way to communicate who you are. I can, let's say one way, one way you tend to be fierce, you tend to be bold, you tend to I got it, who I am. And beauty queen, you tend to smile, you tend to be feminine, you tend to,
And there's somebody paying for that.
And there's commercial on the other hand, where you tend to express yourself. Editorial on the other hand, where you tend to give this fierce photo shoot vibe. You're everything all at once.
Do you or either of you have role models in the industry?
Yeah, actually. As a beauty queen, I look up to Queen Nehita Ofure Ivreme. Then as a model, I look up to Naomi Campbell.
I thought you were going to mention somebody from Africa. Anyway, do you have anybody like that?
Yes, I'm actually looking up to Nehita Ofure. And for a catwalk, right?
Yes. You call it catwalk.
I would say Naomi Campbell is one. Then secondly would be what's her name? Kylie Jenner.
The Jenner, one of the Jenners, the Kardashians, right? Yeah. I know you met Agbani Darego.
Yes,
I've not
so physically.
But you've heard about her.
Yes.
And she does not inspire you in any way?
She does.
Actually, being a young star like me right now, Agbani won Miss World at the age
first
of 18.
ever.
Yeah. And if you look at it, 18 and 19, there's not too much difference. So from here, going on to international pageants, my aim is to win. Not to be a runner-up, to win, to make a difference. I'm coming for you.
Oh, Miss World.
Calm down.
Okay. We're waiting. At least we like the fact that at least you showed us here that it's possible for you to have that big dream. And of course, when you get to that top, remember us here. We can have that conversation on this platform. Of course, I mean, we would definitely have to bring you another time because we're short on time. But then again, I want you to have last words. I mean, for us and then, of course, for the viewers.
Last words.
Yeah.
I love you all. Remain blessed, and God loves you too.
Mobala?
Yeah, I wish everybody the very best. I just hope and pray that everything you pray for, God's blessing on it.
All right, what a way to wrap up Just Africa for today. I mean, I started with two veterans who shared words of wisdom, words of history, words of culture and tradition on the African continent. And of course, I now wrapped up with two beautiful ladies who had enough time to make me feel like I should go into modeling. Maybe I have to lose a bit of belly fat. Well, thank you all so much for joining us on today's edition of Just Africa. It's been a very, very wonderful episode having you view us. And of course, do well to follow us on our social media platforms at Souk News TV. And of course, you'll get recaps of the show and of course our previous shows as well. Do well to join us again tomorrow for another episode. And of course, it's bye for now. The news will come up shortly.
When most Nigerians hear about anti-graft agencies, fear is the first response, anxiety over investigations, raids, or sanctions. But the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, is showing a more collaborative face, one that seeks engagement and partnership to foster integrity across public institutions. The message came to the fore during a courtesy visit to the National Orthopedic Hospital, Igbobi, Lagos, where the ICPC Resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner for Lagos State, Alexander Chukura, led a strategic conversation on collaboration, ethics, transparency, and institutional accountability, received by the hospital's acting medical director, Dr. Wakil Lawal. The visit focused on sensitizing management and staff on the importance of ethical conduct and risks of practices that might attract the Commission's attention.
ICPC is the police of public agencies. I want to break it down the way you understand it. What we mean is that we police MDAs to make them adopt global best practices. However, it is a known fact that one person cannot serve at attention and start well. For crime or for corruption to be consummated by the public officer, most of the time you find people from the outside, they contact us. They are not public officers. Is that not true? I'm aware of the same page. So essentially, the ICPC is the police of public agencies. What is really corruption? Can someone attempt? Or do I just go ahead? And do what they want. Which one would you prefer? Okay, let me go ahead. There are that complex term, corruption, has been seen by different people at different times from different perspectives. But I'm going to still break it down. Corruption aptly refers to an abuse or a misuse of position of public trust to confer an unfair and undue advantage to oneself, to one's relative, or proxy, which may not necessarily be financial. Anything you do to abuse or to misuse that position of public trust for your own gain or for others is corruption. So, the point I'm saying here is that if we have that at the back of our mind, and ICPC is the police of the public agencies, what about the EFCC? The EFCC came after ICPC for purposes of specialization, economic and financial crime.
A key moment of the engagement was an open question and answer session where concerns were raised about perceived bias in enforcement, particularly when some political actors appear untouched, while public servants are often held accountable. The commissioner clarified that the ICPC investigates based on issues and petitions, not status. While he noted the section of Nigeria's constitution which offers temporary immunity to certain office holders, he stated that this immunity elapses once they leave office, after which credible petitions are duly investigated. The leadership of the hospital present were also encouraged to see the ICPC not as a threat, but as an ally in strengthening systems and protecting public trust. Chukura emphasized that internal mechanism is not enough in fighting corruption. Rather, it requires alignment with global best practices. He urged public institutions to adopt transparent documentation and compliance protocols, stating that the absence of proper records can be just as detrimental as misappropriation of funds.
As able to address some areas of concerns and also improve our knowledge on things that we actually don't take cognizance of. More importantly, in some situations, the officer
Olumorok, Lishabi and the people of Egbala, a story of resilience and transformation. Telling the story from afar may not be as beautiful as visiting the historical scene for a more engaging storytelling.
I welcome you to the foot of Olumorok. So climbing the rock is in two ways. Either you go through the panoramic elevator or the stairs, but whichever way you choose to go through, I'm assuring you are going to land at the topmost part of Olumorok safely. So Olumorok is like every other rock you've ever climbed or know about, but it plays an important role in the life of the people of Egba during an intertribal war between the Egba and Old Oyo Empire.
History and culture are the intertwined thread that shape the identity of a people, offering a glimpse into their past struggles, triumphs, and the rich traditions that continue to define their presence.
So from here we can have the glance view of the immediate environment around Olumorok, because Olumorok is centered at the middle of Abeokuta. But when we get to the topmost part on Olumorok, we are going to have the 360-degree of the view, which means the more you go, the more you see. So I want to encourage you to
Brace up.
brace up so that we can get to the topmost part of the rock. So let's move.
History is what we bring to you today. What is the connection between Olumorok, Lishabi, and the Egba people? My name is Grace Komolafe, and this is Souk Perspective. Let me take you on an inspiring journey through the history of one of Nigeria's most significant landmarks. Come with me.
I welcome you to the first level on Olumorok.
Thank you.
So this is the first level on the rock. Olumorok is in 3 stages, from the ground floor to the first landing scape. I want to inform you that you have climbed 120 stairs to come this far. Can you give yourself a round of applause for that? And I'm sure you are fit to climb to the topmost part in Olumorok.
I'll try.
That's great to know. So the first level of Olumorok is called Lishabi Garden. Lishabi Garden is named after one of our past warriors called Lishabi Agbungbakala. Lishabi was one of the warriors that fought for Egba to gain their freedoms from Old Oyo Empire. It is a natural garden set aside for people to take relaxation after climbing the first level of the rock. Also at this spot, we have 2 trees that we can talk about. The first one is Dongoyaro tree. This is it here. Dongoyaro tree. English call it neem tree. It botanicizes as Adirata indica. If you get from its leaf and cook cassava and drink, it kills malaria. And if you drink from a stick, it clears bad breath from mouth. Also, its name is derived from an Hausa face, which means tall boy, Doko Yaro. This is a flamboyant tree. Its botanic is Dilonis regia. It produces some lump. Look at the branches. If you get from those brown pods, there are some seed inside it. When it dries up, if you tap or shake, give a kind of sound sheke sheke. And that was where the Yoruba derived its name from. That is why we call it pansheke in the Yoruba land. The pots serve as a natural musical rattle for traditional dancers, nursing mother to play with, before the invent of tambourine and some other musical instruments. When we go up on Olumorok, we are going to turn and visit all historical places. There are some shrines and worshippers around Olumorok. They are not harmful. They are here to showcase our cultural and traditional heritage. So I wish you a pleasant trip as we rock.
Olumorok, a striking natural formation rising 137 meters, which is about 450 feet above Abeokuta, Nigeria. It's more than just a tourist attraction. It is a symbol of Egba people's endurance. The story of Olumorok begins in the early 19th century when it was identified by the hunter named Adagba. Though details on how Adagba discovered the rock were limited, it is well documented that the Egba people facing oppression under the Oyo Empire sought refuge here.
So this is the cave. This was where the people of Egba took refuge during the war. From that side, there was some dripping water. Some water is to drop from that side. It is tagged the medicinal water of Olumorok. Whenever the water is crushing, traditional believers always come to pick from its drop. And they claim it cures so many ailments in the body. But the water is not flowing out because God determines when the water flows. And this grave, that's the resting place of Chief Sonny. The grave of Chief Sonny. Chief Sonny was the OC of Itoko during his lifetime. Olumorok is founded between two communities. The entry point of Olumorok, where you came in from, is called Ikija, while the backside of Olumorok is called Itoko community. And this is a chieftaincy title in the Yoruba land. That is the chief sitting at the left of the king in palace. As we have the Otunba and Osioba, Osi two top position to the king. According to the custom and tradition of Yoruba, when a chief died, they bury the chief either at the front of his house, at his bedroom, or at his backyard. He must never be taken to a cemetery. That was why Baba was buried here. And this rostry roof building is the family house of Chief Sonny. The family has an extension. Baba dies on the 23rd of January 1956. 20 years after his death, government took over this place as a tourist site. That was why government decided to fence the family house so that they will not be blocking up the passage of the tourists. So the people of Egba took refuge here during an intertribal wars. The war started in 1830. Then the people of Egba were under old Oyo Empire. They basically want freedoms and where to settle. That was why they consulted the Fareku for lead. Ifa instructed the Egbas to come and settle there. On their way coming down, they met a man on the road. The name of the man is called Adagba. Adagba was a great hunter farmer. He was the one that discovered Olumorok during his hunting process. During those periods, the entire city of Abeokuta was thick forest. Only the powerful ones and the warriors that could come around to do anything and return back home alive. But when the Ifa instructed the Egbas to come, Shodeke, who was one of the founding fathers of Egba land, led the people of Egba down here. And they were here for years. During their stay, they took the natural suspension shape of the rock advantage and built their rooms. The rock is naturally standing. They only took the advantage of the shape and built their room. So the rock served as the roof of the room. 4 of the rooms they built as collapsed remains only that. Those are the signs of the fallen rooms. That was where they kept wives and children. Men and warriors will surround the rock so that the enemy will not gain access to this place. All these holes we are seeing on the surface of the rock, that was where they do their grindings. Like we use blenders now, Yoruba call it Oluata. So the process of their grindings make the holes deep like this. After the war in 1833, the people of Egba from Ifa to confirm maybe they should leave this place to go back to where they came from. Ifa told them to keep on dwelling here, that this is where God has put an end to their problems. And that's how they derived the name to the rock, Olufimo. Olufimo means where God put an end to all our tribulations. Ibi tí Olúwa fi ogun wàhálà àti ìdààmú ayé wa mọ̀ sí Olufimo. But people later shorten it to Olumo to gain a very short word. Another meaning to Olumo, Olu in a Yoruba land means God. That's God Almighty. Mo means mold or molded. The people then believe that God benevolently molded the rock for them so that they can take their refuge under it. Oluwa ló mọ̀ fún wa láti fi ṣe ibi ìsádi kúrò lọ́wọ́ ọ̀tá. God molded the rock for our refuge. So when they came out from the rock, others were asking the Egbas of their whereabouts, and they told them, hid ourselves under the rock. Under the rock or beneath the rock in Yoruba means Abe Okuta. And that was how the name got changed from Egba, and they started referring to them as Omo Abe Okuta. Also, the popular city of Abeokuta started from here. So if you have been anywhere around the town and you have not visited here, you haven't been to Abeokuta.
The name Olumo is derived from the Yoruba words. Olu means God, and Mo meaning molded, signifying God-molded rock. This reflects the deep spiritual connection the Egba have with the rock, seeing it as a divine creation that shaped their destiny. Today, the rock remains not only a historical site, but a place of cultural rituals, including annual sacrifices.
Over here, we have the main shrine of Olumo Rock, the main shrine of the rock. The main shrine is a local temple where the people of Egba worship and make sacrifices to the deities of Olumo Rock. Olumo Rock is an historical monument. It's also a symbol of Egba unity, strength, and unfailing protection. Because under the rock, the people of Egba took refuge during an intertribal war. And after the war, the rock has become a deity. That is why Egba people offer sacrifice to Olumo Rock once in a year with a big black cow. During the festival, only two people have access to enter the shrine. That is why the shrine is always locked. And the two people are the paramount ruler of Egbaland, that's Alake of Egbaland, and the chief priest. The chief priest is called Abore in the Yoruba land. Other traditional rulers in Abeokuta invited guests, indigenous of Abeokuta, will stay outside to say amen to his prayer. During the festival, the Alake of Egbaland will pray for the whole nation. He prayed for Egba unity, also the climbers of Olumo Rock, so that they will not fall. No one has ever fallen while climbing the rock. Also at the shrine, traditional believers always come to make their requests in prayers. When the prayer is answered, those that made pledges while praying will come back to redeem their pledge, ensuring appreciation to Almighty God and to Olumo Rock that interceded for them. That is why we have those feather, blood, and cloth on the face of the shrine. Those are the sign of pledges people have been returning. And the people refer to the rock as Olumo Abelowo, Abelomo, Abeloro, Asadi Mulu Egba. There are 4 traditional rulers in Abeokuta: Alake of Egbaland, the paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oshilo of Okiono, Agora of Bagora, and Oluwo of Uwu. Traditional believers always come to make their requests in prayers. Maybe they're looking for words, children, or anything in life. So when the prayer is answered, those that make pledges while praying will usually come back with their pledges. That's why we have those feather, blood, and stuff on the face of the shrine. Those are the sign of the pledges. And the people refer to the rock as Olumo Abelowo, Abelomo, Abeloro, Asadi Mulu Egba, meaning a deity you can pray through for words, children, and every other good things in life.
You might be wondering about the historical issues between Oyo and the Egba people. How Oyo to exert control over them. The western region of Nigeria, primarily composed of Yoruba descendants, was dominated by the Oyo Empire, a powerful political entity that rose to prominence around the 15th century. By the 18th century, Oyo had become one of the largest and most influential states in West Africa, known for its sophisticated governance, military strength, and expansive trade networks, controlling neighboring kingdoms, including the Egba. The governance of the Oyo Empire was centralized under the Alaafin, the king, who was supported by a council of advisors and provincial governors. This structure enabled the empire to maintain stability and enforce laws across its vast territories. At its peak, Oyo thrived economically through agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship, establishing itself as a vibrant economic hub. However, its involvement in the transatlantic slave trade created significant instability in the region, leading the Egba people to seek independence from Oyo's control. Who is Lishabi? No story about the Egba people is complete without mentioning Lishabi, the legendary warrior whose courage and strategic leadership freed the Egba people from the oppressive dominance of the Oyo Empire. Lishabi heroism is etched deeply in the annals of Yoruba history, as he led a rebellion that broke the chance of subjugation and paved the way for Egba autonomy. Lishabi Agbongbu Akala, a native of Itoku, Abeokuta, was not just a fearless leader, but also a tactician. In the late 18th century, the Egba were subject to heavy taxation and constant exploitation under Oyo's rule. To resist this, Lishabi secretly mobilized a group of Egba farmers and hunters into a covert warrior society called Egbearu, a vital step in organizing the rebellion. With his deep understanding of the terrain and his influence over his people, Lishabi led a series of coordinated guerrilla attacks against Oyo forces stationed in the Egba region. His strategy was not one of open warfare, but a methodical plan to undermine Oyo's authority. By ambushing Oyo tax collectors and military detachments, Lishabi weakened the empire's grip over the Egba. His leadership unified the Egba people, turning their frustration with Oyo into a force for liberation. Following their eventual victory, the Egba people were freed from the oppressive rule. In 1830, this newfound freedom led to the establishment of Abeokuta, meaning under the rock, a city founded under the protective watch of Olumorok. Olumorok provided both a literal and symbolic refuge as it sheltered their people during their struggle for independence. From this safe haven, the Egba built a thriving community rooted in agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship, becoming a key cultural and economic hub in the region. Today, Lishabi Agbongbu Akala's legacy is celebrated not just as a warrior, but as a symbol of unity and resilience. His actions not only ensured the survival of the Egba people, but also contributed to the rich historical and cultural fabric of Abeokuta and the entire Yoruba as a whole. By the mid-19th century, Abeokuta had attracted European missionaries like Thomas Freeman, whose introduction of Western education and Christianity left a lasting influence on the community.
Inscription about the just a little write-up. The next spot is where we used to have the mamas. So this was one of the water pots they drank from there. Yoruba quality cocoa. With water storage and preservation, water point is as cold as water from the refrigerator, but it has been cemented for proper preservation. The Yalorisha, they are here as the custodians of the rock, and people do come to them for spiritual consultation and a whole lot more. So this is a crown tree. Crown tree. Yoruba quality Gia cocoa. If a king has to be installed, or they want to make a chieftaincy title in a Yoruba land, they pluck from the leaf away a cocoa to coronate king. But this very one is mainly used for the paramount ruler of this town, Lake of Egbaland, only for him. And the tree has been growing there for over 250 years. It doesn't grow than this. So it has been. Poster of the newly studied Iyalumo, she's 98 years of age. And this is a poster reflecting the old Iyalumo. She died at the age of 37 years, over 2 years ago now. They have a deity they worship here. They call it Orisha Igu. Orisha Igu. That's the deity that controls longevity. They believe the more they worship, the longer they live. So they have other deities around. One of such is Orisha Ojubo Baluaye, Obalua is the deity that controls chickenpox and measles. Yoruba call it shopono. So if chickenpox or measles is striking all over, they do consultation from here. So whatever instruction they get, so once they follow it, everything that comes up will disappear at the go. So that's Ojubo Obalua right there. And this Ogun, god of iron, the famous god of iron. So we have a baobab tree. Baobab tree, B-A-O-B-A-B. In the eastern part of Nigeria, they call it Afo-Napunwa. In the northern part, they call it Kuka. Here in Southwest, we call it Gyoshi. It Botanica is Adansonia digitata. The significance of the tree is that traditional believers always come on there to pray for protections, because there's an adage in the Yoruba land that goes those. Wanipo do ikapa, akpa okapa, wado ikai Gyoshi, akpa okoshi, wado ikakonga. Meaning there's no way you can wrap your arms around the tree. It is impossible because of its massiveness. That's why traditional believers always come on there to pray for protections. So that's the Gyoshi right there. On the floor here we have the faces of the warlord, those that fought for Egba to gain their liberations. So their memorial sculpture was molded here, and the white share you are seeing there, that's type of money spent in the olden days. Cowrie share, Yoruba call it Oweyo. But now they know it for a fact consultation and traditional decoration. That's the olden days money spent in the olden days. Also they use it for a fact consultation. The ancient route to the peak of Olumo Rock. Before modernization, this is only means of going up the rock. The ancient route is a natural passage used by the warriors to access the rock.
as a beacon of history, attracting visitors from all over the world who seek to understand the resilience of the Egba people, showcasing various historical pieces, traditional items, and, on the other hand, the establishment and continuous celebration of the Lishabi festival. In the evolution of the Egba from warriors and hunters to craftsmen, traders and national leaders, their history illustrates the power of unity and determination. Lumorock continues to tell the story of a people who overcame oppression to build a vibrant, self-sustaining community.
I welcome you to the topmost part in Lumorock. From here you can see almost everywhere in Abeokuta. And the height of the rock is 137 meters above sea level. That's about 449 feet.
This is the rich, unyielding legacy of Olumorok, Lishabi, and the Egba people. A narrative of survival, courage, and transformation. Now you see the connection. You see the missing link. I am Grace Komolafe, and this is Souk Perspective on Souk News Television.
Elon Musk is a visionary entrepreneur leading innovative ventures in technology, space exploration, electric vehicles, and renewable energy. Musk was born on June 28, 1971 to a South African engineer and his mother, a Canadian model and nutritionist in Pretoria, South Africa. His talents for computers and entrepreneurship emerged early, and at age 12, he created and sold a video game. Musk studied physics and economics at Queen's University and the University of Pennsylvania. In 1995, Musk founded Zip2, sold to Compaq for $307 million. He also co-founded X.com, which became PayPal, acquired by eBay for $1.5 million in 2002. Driven by a vision for humanity's multiplanetary future, Musk founded SpaceX in 2002, developing affordable rockets to support International Space Station mission and NASA's Artemis program. He became a major investor in Tesla 2004, launching electric vehicles like Roadster, Model X, and Model 3. Tesla unveiled the Cybertruck, beginning deliveries in 2023. Musk acquired X, formerly known as Twitter, in 2022, aiming to enhance future and transparency. Musk has at least 12 children from multiple relationships, including Justin Wilson, Tallulah Riley, Grimes, and Siobhan Zilis. Through SpaceX, Tesla, and other ventures, Musk shapes technology and innovation globally, and his influence extends beyond business into politics and culture.
born on the 16th day of October, 63 years ago. I'm from Opobo, yeah, and went to school. I'm from River State, from Opobo in River State. Went to school in Port Harcourt, lived in Port Harcourt all my life, from primary to secondary school to A-levels. Then after A-levels, I got admission to Unilag. Immediately after Unilag, I got married, and I've lived in Lagos ever since. Well, it was fun for us because me and my husband were very young. My husband was 25, I was 21 and all that. But we learned on the job. We were friends. We were friends for 3 years when I was in Unilag, university, and we came out, we got married. So we're like children that just got married. But I had my parents. My parents were his very good friends. So when I get naughty, he would report me to my parents. When I didn't know these kind of duties were demands of somebody's wife, they would tell me this is my responsibility. I'm like, nope. I will agree to some, I will not agree to some. But I mean, it was fun. We had our ups and downs, but we kind of pushed through it. And then the children started coming, and it was a different ballgame. You know, when you come from that kind of family, it's like part of your system. You don't really regard it as anything anymore. But sometimes I get the shock of my life because there was a time my in-laws came to Opobo for one ceremony, and I saw the king. And he gave me a hug and he gave me a pick, and they were like, whoa, the Oba Bini won't even shake your hand, you know, as a woman. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's the same family, you understand? So we're used to that. I think we take it for granted. But maybe some other people say, you must call me a princess, you must call me that. I'm not into all those kind of things. I'm not at all. I've never been. So I can't start tomorrow. But yeah, great King Jaja of Opobo, my great-great-grandfather. And my children, when they studied it in school, they went to Corona school. When they studied, came, Mom, we're telling our teacher and our classmates that this King Jaja of Opobo, they told them about King Jaja of Opobo in school. And they said, that's my mommy's great-grandfather. Like, whoa, no, it was like a big deal to them. For us, Absolutely, upbringing and my personal choice too, because you could be brought up one way and choose to go another way. You understand? One of my philosophies in life is like this: you're not the tallest in the world, you're not the shortest, you're not the prettiest, you're not the ugliest, you're not the richest, you're not the poorest. Oh, of course, get with it. Do you understand? If you're looking for beauty, there are more beautiful women than you say. If you're looking for ugly, there are uglier women. If you're looking for tall, you're looking for it. So what is it? Do you understand? You didn't come into this world with anything. You're not going to go with anything. So just be grateful to God for whatever you have or whatever you are. Work towards improving on it, improving your relationship with God Almighty and improving your relationship with your fellow human beings. That's my philosophy in life. So what's the point of carrying all the chips on your shoulder? It makes life heavier for you. JD7 is my favorite number. It's a number for perfection, and I was born on the 16th of October. My star sign is Libra. We're always looking for perfect balance in everything. It's just an influence from the horoscopes, I'm told. But J is my husband's name, D is my name, and 7 is my favorite number. Lazy way of forming the name of a company's net. So I did, and it stuck. And I knew I was going to go into couture, so that was it. Easy. I was a victim of circumstance. I keep saying it. I didn't really come into business to be a fashion designer, to go into fashion, and creativity has always been something that's innate. Okay, even before I started making clothes or doing this, I used to always give designers the styles that I want them to make for me. I didn't have tailors. But when I finished my NYSC at Nigerian Television Authority in Victoria Island, I decided I wasn't going to work there. I wanted to work in a more organized setup. You understand? Because of management traineeship, because I never worked all my life. You know, my parents were very protective. I'm the last girl in the family. They were always very protective. You know? So I said I wanted to work somewhere, and I prayed about it. And I got into Unilever. Then it was called Lever Brothers. And for 5 years, but you know, the intensity of work there became a bit much for me because I was a young mother. I had 2 kids then. Was going on having the 3rd one, so it became a bit time. Sometimes Unilever was one of the biggest. When the international directors come in, we used to be the ones to host them with all the Unilever affiliates. Linters, the advertising agency used to be all the Nigerian breweries, USC, you understand, AJC, we're all Unilever group. Sometimes I won't get home until 3 a.m. when we are hosting, and with kids in the house, it can be a bit much. So I'm like, I prayed about it and I decided something has to give. It's either your family, your children you will not give them the attention they need then, and they were growing fast, or your job will suffer, and then you will not be happy whichever way. So I decided, you know what, let my priority be my family. And I decided to go back. And I put in my resignation. That was not what I'm fine. When I did, my chairman refused to accept the resignation. So I had to use another way to encourage him to accept it. So I left Unilever. I said, okay, I wasn't the type of person that was suited for being a housewife. I wanted to do the kind of business I would do, but still have 100% time for the kids. So when the kids said, oh, they're having something in school, I'm there, okay? I decided I was going to just market corporate gifts. When I was in Unilever, I was the assistant corporate affairs manager in charge of press. So, and being in Unilever at the corporate affairs level, I already knew a lot of companies. So I used that opportunity to get back to those companies and introduce my new business. And in the first year, I actually made more money than my 5-year stint in Unilever. So that was the number encouragement. You make more money doing your own business. You have more time for your kids, for your family, and for yourself. And you travel quite a bit because you have to go and buy the corporate gift. So it was a win-win. Then, a few years down the line, the president, Olusegun Obasanjo, came in and said they were doing backward integration and they were going to stop the importation of all this corporate gift and a lot of other things. So we were actually forced to look inwards. And when we started looking inwards, that's when it hit me that apart from Big, that was being produced by Eleganza, we're not really manufacturing anything in Nigeria apart from textiles and maybe I think Eleganza was doing food flask or something. And which corporate body do you want to give as end of year gift? So what we had to do now, because a lot of my clientele were like Shell, Chevron, I started looking inwards. I said, okay, if I have to do something, I can do beddings, pillowcase trimmings, table covers, table placemat, napkins with fabrics like Ashok and Adira. I can do jute bags, you know. It came to me. So I had to go and buy one machine and employed one tailor. So sometimes they will call me. I did some samples. So even in Abuja, when they were going to have, like I remember the West African Women's Affairs, they had a conference. So they wanted jute bags, and we had about 1,000 or 2,000 jute bags, and that was quite nice. Plus, apart from the end of year activities, so that's it. But you know, after those periods, you have periods of lull, like you're not using the machine and the tailor. You have to be paying tailor for doing it. I'm like, why am I going to these people to make my clothes? Tailor, oh yeah. This is the style I want. I started first by giving some of my clothes, repeat it. You did well. So I started designing. I could sketch very well. I was a science student in school, but I could sketch really well. So I was sketching will do well. And sometimes when I wear the clothes and I go to supermarket, some women will just call me, hey, I really like this thing you're wearing. Please, where did you make it? I'm like, okay, I'll give you the address. I give them the address. They started coming. Before I could say that, within 1 month, I had over 50 women I had to make clothes for. And the one tailor was no longer enough. I had to employ 2 others. That was how we started. From 2 to 4, then I had a whole factory before you could see that. I started making school uniforms, started doing all kinds of things. And then some of the magazines, like Genevieve magazine, looked around like, are you sure you make this outfit? I thought you were a broadcaster. I thought you sell. I said, yes, I did. So I did some photo shoot session for her, and I modeled the clothes actually. And whoa, I started getting calls from Paris, from the UK. I did DC Fashion Week, you know, I was just, and they will pay your ticket, pay your hotel, please come and showcase for us. Some will even say, please come and open the show for us. Some say, we want you to close this. I'm like, okay. There are places that I would never have thought of going to, like Burkina Faso. They will back me the top fashion designers that would, when the Alfadi does this, they want every 4 years. Alfadi in Niger. The Niger government sponsors it. He calls all, including Elisab, every international designer, they will go, especially the Moroccan ones, those North African ones, Indians. So they invite one designer from each country. So they used to call me to come because of what I used to work a lot with Ankara and Ashok, and I do international acclaimed, how would I put it, couture outfits with Ankara, big hats, funny looking, structured clothes and all that. So that was how it went, you know. And I did all the magazines. I've won all the awards. So after a while, you know, I started thinking of concentrating on exports. In the process of doing that, my husband took ill. After 2 years, we lost him. So when I came back home, I gave a lot of things a lot of thought. My kids were still in school. My daughter got married. She was in Australia already. And then my kids, my 2 boys were still in school. So I said, look, this fashion design thing is not going to pay school fees in pounds sterling and dollars. So I said to myself, you know what? Why don't you give the man hours to the industry, the family business that were yielding the most income? That was how I started kind of just saying, you know what, let me just minimize it a bit. My core clients were still coming. So I kept the tailors, my experienced tailors that worked with for years, I kept few of them. And I kind of cut down on that business. I said, you know what, let me just go and face the family business and do this for the people who really know what I'm doing. And word of mouth goes. So I'm still doing that, but my priority is really not that, you know. When you look at me the first time you see me, you see a fragile woman that don't like to sweat, that's spoiled, that like to be kept. I'm like, what? Absolutely not. My husband didn't want me to do anything. He just felt he wanted to spoil me. I said, that's not how to love me at all. Please. It's either you kind of understand the person I am. I'm a very creative mind. This mind has to keep working, or I'll make life miserable for you, you know. What I will advise, even women who are willing to work, you don't even do one job. You must get at least more than 2 streams of income. Otherwise, you will not make ends meet. That is the truth of today's world, you understand? Then those ones that want to be kept, no matter how wealthy your husband is, wealth is not static. Some people start today. When they retire, everything goes downhill. Some people mean well, they love you, they want to take care of you, but nature calls. They part ways. Some marry other women, some leave, some die. You understand? So anything can happen. I would advise them, everybody, try to be as independent as you can, financially independent. I think you actually earn more respect when you do that. And then also, when things don't work out too well for the husband, no matter how rich you are, you don't have to put him through too much stress. You can take care of yourself, you can take care of yourself, you take care of him, you encourage him, but let him not feel that the world has come to an end. You know, a man feels happy when he knows that his back is covered, even when he's not making it. You understand? It doesn't make him lazy, it makes him very grateful. Yeah. So I will advise everybody, get something to do something that will enable you earn good income if you can. Do something that you also enjoy doing. I've always believed in garbage in, garbage out. Yeah? Garbage in is the stress abound. You cannot control that. But you can control your attitude towards stress. Stress is the #1 killer and ages of everything in this world. It's your attitude to stress that you have to manage, and that depends on you. What you put in your mouth also depends on you. Your mind, your heart, your spirit, your soul. You have to be loving, you have to be forgiving, you understand? All that depends on you. So it's actually you that decides whether you're going to age gracefully or you're not. Forget about the genes first. It's true. You understand? Some people are so malicious, when you offend them once, oh my goodness. They will carry it in their chest and the chest will be expanding and they won't sleep well and they begin to have problems. Meanwhile, the person you're angry with does not even know you exist. It's crazy. So for me, it's just be free and take life easy. Take it as it comes and always be grateful to God. I'm too honest and straightforward. It's either I will be killed immediately or because I will tell you the truth no matter whose house is God. I don't think I can play politics. I'm not a politician at all. I am a very straight shooter. I will tell you to your face when you're doing stupid things. That was my relationship with my mom, my dad, my husband. So most times, I'm the last girl in the house, so maybe when they were disciplining the first ones, by the time they got to my turn, they were a bit tired. So we could talk to my parents anyhow. But I don't do it to create whatever. I just feel that if anybody worth talking to, is worth talking to with honesty and integrity. And when you want to play politics, they will see something that is black. They will say it's yellow. I can't do that. For the love of me, I can't. So politics is not my call. And because of that, they will not allow your creativity to come out, your sincerity. What's the point? Yes. I'm actually planning some kind of, I met some of my old models that are doing very well. And you know, when you deal with a lot of these girls, some of them have traveled with me to Niger. Sometimes they'll tell you, bring 2 of your models. You know, some of them, we have very good relationship. We're going to do a reunion one of these days. It will be fun. And they are all calling, when are we going to do this? I say, don't worry, we'll get a reunion done. Because we need to revisit the fashion industry, see how things are going. They're doing well. The new ones are doing well. And I just pray that the environment will not discourage them, you know. It's not just Nigeria, it's the world. Whatever is happening in Nigeria is what the truth is. A crate of egg in Nigeria is still cheaper than a crate of egg in the US and in the UK, even with the exchange rate. So it's not just Nigeria, the world is experiencing some kind of. The way I see it is like the pangs of birth before before the child finally comes. You know, that intense labor. And then when the child is born, everything is calm and beautiful, everybody's happy. I think we are just towards the end of the labor pain. It's going to get better, but we're going to pass through a lot of that before it gets better. And when it finally gets better, we'll all be smiling. But right now, the whole world, not just Nigeria, is crazy. If you look at international, listen to international news, it's actually crazier than here. I just pray. Yes, I live opposite, I won't even say it, on the street. One of the big men that live on that street, his birthday was yesterday, and the whole street was filled with beggars, hungry people. It was really crazy. I felt so bad. We were pushing each other, killing each other, fighting just to get a plate of jollof rice. It was very sad. It didn't used to be that bad. There were a few people who would come hang around, but the whole street, I couldn't move anywhere yesterday because of it. But I hope it gets better soon, so that the best in all of us can come in. Because hunger and poverty can actually bring out the worst in people. Naturally, yes. I have an NGO that I do. What I do, I take girls, young girls that are not able to complete school because of poverty, and I educate them. You understand? I try to pay school fees, help people. I believe in education and that. Yeah, because I don't believe in giving you the fish. I believe in teaching you how to fish. I have few of them from my place come stay with me. Some of them are able to stand the discipline. Some of them are not able. So the ones that are able to stay, they stay, and they do very well. Some of them I train from a distance and they do well. So I've had university graduates, I have A-levels, I have all kinds of things. That's what I do. And most people come to me naturally, not because I'm a trained mentor or anything. When you do anything out of love, an act of sincerity of purpose, and because they see you as genuine, they listen to you. You understand? When you mean well, you tell people the honest truth, and they, it's not easy sometimes, but yes, a kind of mentor.
Wole Soyinka, born Akiwande Oluwole Babatunde Soyinka on July 13, 1934, in Abeokuta, Ogun State, southwest Nigeria, stands as one of Africa's most celebrated literary figures and a global icon of resistance against oppression. His life and works reflect an unwavering commitment to justice, culture, and the transformative power of art. Soyinka was born into a Yoruba family in colonial Nigeria, an environment that exposed him to both traditional African culture and Western education. His father, Samuel Ayodele Soyinka, was a school headmaster, while his mother, Grace Eniola Soyinka, was a devoted Anglican. This blend of indigenous and colonial influences deeply shaped Soyinka's world. Soyinka attended Government College Ibadan and later proceeded to the University College Ibadan, where he studied English and literature. Soyinka completed his education at the University of Leeds in England, earning a degree in English and later a doctorate degree. In the late 1950s, Soyinka began working as a dramaturgist at the Royal Court Theatre in London. However, his passion for storytelling and cultural preservation drew him back to Nigeria, where he founded two theatre groups known as the 1960 Masks and the Orisun Theatre Company. Soyinka's works, often a fusion of Western dramatic techniques and African themes, address universal issues of justice, freedom, and human dignity. His early play, titled A Dance of the Forest, which was introduced in 1960, written to celebrate Nigeria's independence, critically examined the nation's socio-political trajectory. setting the tone for his career as both artist and activist. Soyinka's activism became more visible during Nigeria's post-independence years. In 1967, during the Nigerian Civil War, he called for a ceasefire between federal forces and Biafran separatists. This led to his arrest by the military government, and he spent 22 months in prison, where he wrote a short drama titled The Man Died, Prison Notes, a harrowing account of his imprisonment and a profound critique of authoritarianism. Soyinka has authored more than 20 works, including plays, novels, poetry, and essays. In 1986, Soyinka became the first African to win the Nobel Prize of Literature, an achievement that brought global recognition to African literature. Soyinka remained an outspoken critic of oppressive regimes, often at great personal risk. His activism extended beyond Nigeria, addressing global issues of injustice and human rights. During periods of military rule in Nigeria, he went into exile, continuing to write and speak against tyranny. Today, Soyinka is celebrated not only as a literary giant, but also as a symbol of resilience and moral courage.
Anthony Onyemaechi Elumelu was born on the 22nd of March 1963 in Jos, North Central Nigeria, to Susanna Dominic Elumelu, originally from Delta State. Tony earned a degree in economics from Ambrose Lee University, where he laid the foundation for his future career, and then furthered his education at the University of Lagos, where he obtained a master's degree in economics. His academic journey also includes attending the Harvard Business School, where he completed the Owner of President Management program, equipping him with advanced business management skills. Tony currently serves as the chairman of Ayers Holdings, Transcorp, and United Bank for Africa, UBA, demonstrating his significant influence in the banking and investment sector. He founded the Tony Elumelu Foundation, which aims to empower African entrepreneurs through comprehensive training, mentorships, and funding opportunities. In addition to his professional achievements, he's also a family man, married to Dr. Adele Vivian Elumelu, and together they have 7 children. In 2020, his efforts were acknowledged when he was named one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world. Anthony Elumelu's net worth is estimated to be around $700 million, a testament to his successful ventures and strategic investments. Elumelu continues to be a driving force in the business world, advocating for sustainable economic growth and empowering the next generation of African entrepreneurs.
Very good afternoon to you and welcome to the World News. We are reaching you live from our studios at Souk News Television. I'm Oyipriye Krumale. Let's begin with today's top stories. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited targets 2 million barrels per day crude oil production by 2027. Now, Nigeria Immigration Service announces plans to introduce a single travel emergency passport to assist Nigerians abroad whose passports are expired. Consecutive growth driven by performance across industries. Now, Mark Carney's first budget target defense. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney presents first federal budget outlining $280 Canadian billion investment. And in sports, Victor Osimhen yet to hit another world record. The Super Eagles captain, the Super Eagles superstar. The National Energy Security NNPC targets 2 million barrels daily output by 2027. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has reaffirmed its commitment to raising crude oil production to 2 million barrels per day, marking a crucial step towards strengthening the national energy security and economic growth. The Group Chief Executive Officer, Bashir Bayo Ojulari, announced the target at the Abu Dhabi International Petroleum Exhibition and Conference 2025, highlighting Nigeria's new era of strategic partnership with global and indigenous investors. Ojulari explained that production growth is being driven by renewed collaborations, elimination of long-standing operational barriers, and increased investment in deep water exploration and gas infrastructure. The company aims to attract between $30 billion and $60 billion in new investment by the year 2030, with key projects such as nearly completed Jaokuta, Kaduna, Kano, and Obialfu Obrekam Oben pipelines, strengthening gas monetization efforts under President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. NNPC is positioning Nigeria as Africa's central energy hub through cleaner energy solutions, including the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative and Auto Gas expansion. Ojulari called for global partnership to eradicate energy poverty across Africa, stressing that the nation's energy future will be built on pragmatism, partnership, and purpose to deliver long-term value for Nigerians and international stakeholders. We're back in a moment. Do stay with us.
Fellow Nigerians, did you know that constituency and executive projects in your communities are not gifts from your legislators? They are projects sponsored by the legislators and funded by the federal government to improve your life and the lives of those around you. These projects belong to you. Without your vigilance, they might never be completed. Don't allow them to fade away into unfulfilled promises. Stand up, take ownership, monitor their progress, demand accountability, and report concerns to ICPC. Call our toll-free line now on 0800-2255-4272 or WhatsApp only on 0806-656-4726. This message is brought to you by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, with support from MacArthur Foundation and the Center for Democracy and Development in Africa, CDD.
When you visit Lagos for the first time and Google fun or recreational places in the city, at the top of that list will be Freedom Park. Located in Lagos Island on Broad Street, Freedom Park over the years has become home to the Nigerian arts and the culture at large. From annual big shows like the Lagos Theatre Festival, celebration at the Lagos Poetry Festival, to local festivals that celebrate literature, music, and arts, Freedom Park is one of the most visited recreational sites in Lagos, for both local and tourist people alike. A place to mingle, unwind, or simply just have fun. Freedom Park, however, hasn't always been a place of fun and games. It has a history that dates to 1861, when Lagos was made a British colony. In 1885, Freedom Park was built as a fortified prison from imported bricks, which was referred to as Her Majesty's Broad Street Prison. Some prominent political prisoners were held in the prison, people such as Herbert Macaulay, Michael Imodu, and Obafemi Awolowo. In 1979, Her Majesty's Broad Street Prison was destroyed, reduced to a dumping ground. It was later rebuilt in the 1990s, celebrated in 2010, Nigeria's 50th Independence Day. Freedom Park still holds a bit of its history within its walls. In the museum, where there are pictures and artifacts. Some of the old prison facilities have been converted into leisure facilities that people visit and enjoy today.
Thanks for joining us. Now, Nigeria may spend an additional 973.6 billion naira yearly on petrol imports following the federal government's approval of a 15% import tariff on premium motor spirit, according to data from the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. The country imported an average of 26.75 million liters of petrol daily between January and September 2025. A tariff rate of 99 naira 72 kobo per liter was applied. This translates to 2.67 billion naira daily, or about 976.6 billion naira annually, a cost that consumers are expected to bear through higher pump prices. The policy approved by President Bola Tinubu aims to encourage local refining, boost government revenue, and align import costs with domestic production realities. However, operators, including the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, have warned that the move could drive up fuel prices and worsen inflation, while the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprises backed the tariff as a step toward protecting local refineries and promoting energy security. Stakeholders have urged government to ensure proper implementation to prevent fuel scarcity and economic strain on consumers. The Nigerian Electricity Management Services has intensified its nationwide inspection and certification project to drive and strengthen power safety and system reliability under the Electricity Act 2023. During a recent field inspection in Ebonyi State, the agency uncovered 31 critical defects along the Afikpo 33 kilovolts federal feeder and Nibo injection stop stations operated by the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, citing violations such as broken cross arms, undersized conductors, and overhead lines running dangerously close to residential areas. NEMSA has directed the Enugu Distribution Company to correct all faults within 4 weeks to prevent possible hazards that could endanger lives and property. The agency also extended inspection and testing exercises to Kebbi, Zamfara, Sokoto states, and assessing transformers and substations to ensure compliance with approved technical standards before commissioning. These measures aim to curb frequent power disruptions and equipment failures caused by power installation and substandard materials. Managing Director and Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation, Engineer Aliu Tahir, reaffirmed NEMSA's commitment to enforcing safety standards through its 21 field offices nationwide. He emphasized that no electrical installations will be energized without proper inspection and certification. Tahir said the agency's renewed monitoring efforts align with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda to deliver safe, reliable, and sustainable electricity across the country. And on to immigration, the Nigerian Immigration Service has announced plans to introduce a new single travel emergency passport STEP to assist Nigerians abroad whose passports are expired, lost, or stolen. The Comptroller General of Immigration, Kemi Nana Nandab, disclosed this during a high-level migration meeting jointly hosted by Nigeria and France in Abuja. The initiative replaces the existing emergency travel certificate and forms part of the service's ongoing reform to enhance identity management and border governance in line with global best practices. According to Nandab, the STEP is a biometric one-time use travel document that will allow stranded Nigerians to return home securely and safely and verifiably. It will be issued at designated Nigerian embassies and consulates abroad and valid only for a single entry into Nigeria. She emphasized that the reform underscores the service's commitment to efficiency, accountability, and stronger identity protection within Nigeria's migration management system. The meeting, attended by representatives from ECOWAS, the African Union, the European Union, NAPTIP, and other international stakeholders, focused on improving cooperation against human trafficking and migrant smuggling across regional routes. Nandab reaffirmed Nigeria's dedication to global migration dialogue, alignment with the international standards, ensuring safer and more orderly migration processes. Now, Katsina State government has presented a total budget of 897,865,078,282 naira for the 2026 fiscal year. Governor Diko Urada made the presentation before Katsina State House of Assembly, noting that the proposal allocates 167,725 million for recurrent expenditure and 730,139 million naira for capital projects. The new budget represents a 29.7% increase over the previous year allocation. Rather explained that the revenue projection includes a Federation Allocation Accounts Committee component of 489 billion naira and an internally generated revenue targeted at 88 billion naira. He highlighted that his administration remains committed to a community-driven approach to tackling insecurity through training and engagement of over 1,000 community volunteers, support for local watch groups, and sustained joint security operations. He added that the 2026 budget was designed with the input of ministries, departments, and agencies to enhance self-management and accountability. In response, Speaker Nasir Daura commended the governor's focus on economic growth, peace, and stability, pledging the Assembly's cooperation toward achieving the state's developmental goals. Now, as the festive season draws near, Nigerian air travelers are appealing to the federal government to intervene in the continued sale of international flight tickets exclusively in United States dollars. Many passengers have expressed concern that the policy could make air travel increasingly expensive and limit accessibility for average income earners. The practice, recently reintroduced by some foreign airlines, has stirred public debate over its impact on Nigeria's currency and the economy. Travelers and aviation stakeholders are urging that all transactions be conducted in Naira to protect the consumer's interests and preserve confidence in the local financial system. Industry experts also warn that sustained demand for foreign currency in ticket sales could further strain the Naira's stability. Leaders within the travel sector, including the National Association of Nigerian Travel Agents, have emphasized that while airlines maintain the right to operate profitably, such business decisions should align with Nigeria's economic priorities. The key enabling Naira transactions could empower local travel agents, create more jobs, and foster a fairer operating environment as the country seeks to strengthen its aviation and tourism industries. Now, still to come in the news, South Africa's private sector activity declined in October for the first time in 7 months. We'll bring you details of that story after this break. To stay with us.
The rise and fall of Nigeria Airways is a story steeped in mismanagement and missed opportunities. Established in 1958, Nigeria Airways, the national carrier, initially soared as a symbol of national pride. However, a series of missteps led to its unfortunate demise. In 2008, financial mismanagement became its Achilles' heel. The airline became bloated with an oversized workforce, hemorrhaging money on profitable routes while neglecting crucial safety maintenance. These issues stemmed from a lack of transparency and accountability. The government, as the majority owner, failed to implement proper checks and balances, allowing mismanagement to foster. Weak regulatory oversight likely played a part as well, with instances of impounded aircraft due to unpaid debts and safety concerns raised by international bodies. Ultimately, the crippling debt burden proved unsurmountable, forcing Nigeria Airways to cease operations, leaving a void and a valuable lesson for the future. This lack of transparency and accountability isn't unique to state-owned airlines. Several privately owned airlines have also suffered the same fate. Effective corporate governance, including robust financial management and adherence to safety regulations, is essential for any airline to succeed. The broader lesson here is the critical role of corporate governance in the aviation industry. Effective management, robust financial strategies, supportive economic policies, and modern infrastructure are crucial for the growth and success of airlines. Addressing these challenges requires a concerted effort from both the government and the private sector to foster a conducive environment for aviation to thrive. Corporate governance is a multifaceted discipline that encompasses a wide range of processes, customs, policies, laws, and institutions that influence how a corporation is directed, administered, and controlled. The primary goal of corporate governance is to enhance economic efficiency with a strong focus on maximizing shareholders' welfare. Effective corporate governance has been linked to improved organizational performance, a fact supported by numerous studies. For airlines, factors such as board compositions, management practices, and regulating compliance significantly impact performance and operational efficiency and customer satisfaction are paramount. Robust corporate governance ensures that airlines operate transparently, ethically, and in alignment with both regulatory standards and stakeholder expectations. This is crucial for maintaining public trust, ensuring operational sustainability, and achieving long-term profitability. Across the Atlantic, one airline consistently ranks among the world's most profitable, Delta Airlines. What propels this country to such heights? The answer lies in its unwavering commitment to strong corporate governance. Delta's governance structure is robust, featuring a strong independent board of directors. This board comprises individuals with diverse backgrounds, skills, and experiences, ensuring a wide range of perspectives in decision-making processes. As of December 31, 2023, the board includes 10 independent directors and 2 non-independent members, one being the chief executive officer and the other a nominee from the Airline Pilots Association. Diversity extends to gender, race, and ethnicity, with 1 out of 12 directors representing historically underrepresented groups. Key committees including audit, corporate governance, personnel and compensation, safety and security, and finance play critical roles in overseeing various aspects of operations and governance. By bridging the gap between Delta's global success and the realities of the Nigerian aviation industry, a thriving future can be achieved. For regulators, strengthening regulations in Nigeria's aviation industry involves implementing stricter enforceable measures to discourage irresponsible practices while protecting consumers, employees, and investors. This includes a thorough review of ownership structures by setting up minimum competency standards for owners, exploring diversified ownership models, and enforcing stringent disclosure requirements. Regular independent audits should be conducted, extending beyond mere compliance to identify areas for improvement in operational safety and sustainability practices, thereby fostering a more robust and reliable aviation sector. Bayo Olaoye, Souk News.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is the news at 3. Now let's move on. Kenya's private sector expanded at its fastest rate since December, marking the second consecutive month of growth driven by strong performance across all industries. The Stanbic Bank Kenya Purchasing Managers Index rose to 52.5 in October from 51.9 in September, indicating solid business activity and rising demand across the economy. The report highlighted that the output growth accelerated across all 5 monitored subsectors, showing renewed business confidence and improved operating conditions. Analysts linked the expansion to better demand, increased orders, and a more stable business environment, according to the Finance Ministry. Kenya's economy is projected to grow by 5.3% in both 2025 and 2026, up from 4.7% recorded in 2024. This positive outlook reflects continued momentum in private investment and government efforts to stimulate growth through policy reforms and sectoral diversification. Now, South Africa's private sector activity declined in October for the first time in 7 months, reflecting weaker business demand and slow output. According to S&P Global, the country's Purchasing Managers Index dropped to 48.8 from 50.2 in September, falling below the 50-point threshold that separates growth from contraction. The report noted that despite improvements in supply delivery times and easing cost pressures, new orders and export sales declined sharply, marking the steepest fall in nearly a year. Companies cited reduced consumer spending power and uncertain domestic conditions as major factors affecting sales and production volumes. However, there were some positive indicators, including a moderation in input costs due to appreciation of the rand, which has gained about 7% against the dollar this year. Business confidence remained resilient, with more than 1/3 of firms expecting an improvement in activity over the next 12 months. Now, China has announced the removal of retaliatory tariffs on the United States agricultural products following Washington's decision to reduce fentanyl-related duties on Chinese imports. The Ministry of Finance confirmed on Wednesday that the measure takes effect immediately, ending the levies imposed on March 4 on major farm goods, including soybeans, corn, wheat, sorghum, and chicken. The tariff removal marks a significant step toward easing trade tensions between the 2 largest economies in the world. The decision is expected to revive United States agricultural exports to China and improve market access for American farmers who have faced reduced demand since the escalation of the trade disputes. According to the ministry, the move demonstrates China's willingness to restore economic cooperation under the latest trade truce, which was outlined in a White House fact sheet. Analysts believe the development could set the stage for broader negotiations aimed at stabilizing bilateral economic ties and improving global market confidence. Now, Singapore's monetary authority has issued a fresh caution regarding the rising risks in the global technology and artificial intelligence stock markets. In its annual financial stability review released earlier today, the regulator noted that valuations in these sectors appear overstretched, reflecting a growing disconnect between market enthusiasm and the actual earnings and the potential of technology companies. The central bank highlighted that excessive optimism about artificial intelligence profitability could result in sudden market corrections. It warned that such a retrenchment could spill into broader equity market, leading to heightened volatility and possible financial instability across investment portfolios worldwide. Additionally, the report pointed out that the private credit market may face higher defaulters rates if investor sentiment weakens. If it weakens, rather, the Monetary Authority emphasized the need for investors to maintain caution and for financial institutions to reinforce risk management measures as global markets continue to rely heavily on technology-driven optimism. Now, still in the monetary market, Sweden's central bank has decided to maintain its benchmark interest rate at 1.75%, marking a continued effort to stabilize the economy as signs of recovery begins to emerge. The decision keeps borrowing costs at their lowest level in 3 years, reflecting confidence that existing monetary conditions are sufficient to nurture growth without risking inflationary pressures. According to the Risk Bank's statement released earlier today, the all-heightened economic survey by the Bloomberg report had predicted the move, aligning with the bank's cautious approach to economic normalization. The Monetary Authority indicated that it intends to sustain this rate level for about a year to strengthen the consumer spending and business investment. The central bank's strategy underscores its focus on long-term recovery over rapid policy shifts. By maintaining low borrowing costs, Sweden aims to consolidate gains in employment and output, ensuring that the post-slowdown recovery remains steady and resilient across key economic sectors. And after Poland, where the central bank is set to implement its fifth interest rate cuts in 2025 following an unexpected drop in inflation to its lowest level since mid-2024. The move aligns with efforts to support economic activity as consumer prices continue to stabilize faster than anticipated, according to a recent survey. Despite this latest easing, several policymakers have cautioned against prolonged rate reductions, warning that the government's expansive fiscal policy could reintroduce price pressures in the coming months. The central bank is therefore expected to monitor closely the balance between economic growth and inflation control. Analysts note that the decision reflects Poland's ongoing strategy to stimulate domestic demand while maintaining financial stability. However, continued fiscal spending and external market pressures could test the sustainability of this monetary easing cycle in the near term. Now, Italy's retail sector weakened again in September, with sales falling by 0.5% from the previous month, according to data released by the National Statistics Agency, Istat. The drop follows a 0.2% decline in August, which was slightly revised from an early 0.1% estimated, signaling continued strain on consumer spending despite monthly slowdown. Now, retail sales grew by 0.5% in year 1 year in unadjusted terms. However, this growth lagged behind the 1.8% increase in consumer prices over the same period, indicating that inflation continues to erode the purchasing power. Both food and non-food sales recorded declines of 0.4% and 0.5% respectively. The report highlights a weakening household demand amid persistent inflationary pressures, even as Italy's broader economy seeks to regain momentum. Economists warn that the continued declines in real retail activity could weigh on economic growth in the final quarter of 2025, unless consumer confidence and spending recovers. Now, still to come on the news, United States government record 36-day shutdown has sparked urgent discussion on reforming fiscal management. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.
Cashew nuts, ranked among Ivory Coast top cash crops, play a crucial role in the country's economy, generating substantial revenue and supporting livelihoods across the country. As the world's leading exporter of raw cashew nuts, Ivory Coast contributes an estimated $800 million annually to its economy and also serves as a vital source of income for over 410,000 families, particularly in rural areas where few other opportunities exist. Cashew trees flourish in Ivory Coast northern regions, including Bondukau and Savannah, known for its high-quality nuts and extensive plantations, just as Worondogu and Bagwe in the north central and northwest are also emerging as key producers. These regions not only drive Ivory Coast cashew production, but also support local livelihoods and economic growth. However, the country with over 29 million citizens is yet to fully realize the potential of its cashew industry. Despite being the top producer, the country processes only 7% of its cashew domestically, resulting in lost opportunities for value addition and job creation. Specifically, a recent data reveals that only 22% of the country's cashew nut output was processed domestically in 2023, even as the volatility of global cashew prices poses risks to farmers' income and overall economic stability. Concerns also arise regarding labor practices in some cashew farms and the environmental impact of deforestation for new plantations. To address these challenges and maximize the benefit of its cashew industry, Ivory Coast must focus on key strategies moving forward. These include investing in local processing facilities to boost job creation, export value, and farmers' incomes. Furthermore, the Ivorian government body overseeing the cashew sector, ARECA, must promote fair trade practices and ethical sourcing to ensure better prices for farmers and improve working conditions. Sustainable farming practices will also help to protect the environment and ensure long-term cashew production. According to a recommendation made at a workshop organized by the World Bank, tax exemptions and access to credit facilities will help to tackle some of these challenges. Furthermore, the private sector can also invest in research to develop high-yielding cashew varieties, improve processing techniques, explore new cashew products, as well as develop and implement digital platforms that connect farmers to market in order to facilitate financial transactions. Organizations like the Africa Cashew Initiative, ACI, must also assist in data compilation in the value chain at macro, meso, and micro level. By addressing this and harnessing its cashew potential, the country can further enhance its economy and build a more sustainable future for its citizens. Israel Adeyemi, reporting for Souk News.
Human ingenuity has birthed remarkable innovations, none more so than the rise of intelligent machines. Computers, once more calculators, have evolved into sophisticated systems capable of mimicking human thought processes. Powered by artificial intelligence, AI, these systems are learning, problem-solving, and making decisions that were once exclusive domain of humans. From accelerating scientific discovery to tackling climate change, AI's potential is vast, but perhaps its most profound impact lies in healthcare. Artificial intelligence, AI, it's no longer a futuristic concept. It's here with the potential to revolutionize patient care, diagnosis, and treatment. AI is emerging as a powerful tool in the hands of medical professionals. From detecting diseases early to optimizing treatment plans, AI is demonstrating remarkable capabilities. It can analyze vast amounts of medical data to identify patterns and predict outcomes, aiding in more accurate diagnosis. Also, AI-powered robots are assisting in surgeries, improving precision, and reducing recovery times. However, despite its promises, challenges persist. Concerns about data privacy, ethical implications, and the need for robust regulatory frameworks are hindering widespread AI adoption. To fully unlock AI's potential in healthcare, collaborative efforts are essential. Healthcare providers, researchers, policymakers, and technology companies must work together to develop and implement AI solutions responsibly. By addressing ethical concerns, investing in AI research, and creating supportive regulatory environments, we can accelerate the integration of AI into healthcare and improve patient outcomes. Joy Chuma, Souk News.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the World News. Now, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney has presented his administration's first federal budget outlining a $280 billion Canadian dollar investment plan over 5 years to stimulate infrastructure, productivity, defense, and housing. The budget allocates $115 billion Canadian dollars to infrastructure and $110 billion to productivity and competitiveness, $30 billion to defense and security, and $25 billion to housing project aimed at improving living standards and economic resilience. A key highlight is the government's decision to boost defense spending by $81.8 billion over 5 years, focusing on recruitment, infrastructure repair, and military technology upgrades. Additionally, a $2 billion Canadian dollar critical mineral sovereign fund will support investments in energy transition and resource development, while enhanced tax incentives will encourage private investments in low-carbon projects and equipment. The budget also introduces new regulatory frameworks for stable coins and open banking to modernize Canada's financial system to manage spending. The government plans to save $60 billion through a 10% reduction in the civil service and improved tax collection. Immigration levels will be trimmed beginning in 2026 with greater focus on economic migrants to balance labor supply and productivity growth. Now, Britain's services industry recorded its strongest growth outlook in a year, signaling renewed economic momentum as inflationary pressures continue to ease. The S&P Global United Kingdom Services Purchasing Managers Index rose to 52.3 in October from 50.8 in September, reflecting improved output and new orders, with firms expressing the highest business confidence since October 2024. The positive trend offers relief for Finance Minister Rachel Reeves, who has prioritized economic expansion ahead of the upcoming national budget service. The businesses report a resilient domestic demand despite ongoing uncertainty and delayed spending decisions. The sector also showed early signs of labor market stability as jobs cut slowed significantly after months of contraction. Input cost inflation fell to its lowest level in nearly a year, while prices charged by firms rose at the slowest rate since June, suggesting the cost pressures are gradually subsidizing. Analysts expect the Bank of England to maintain 4% interest rates as it monitors service sector price movement, with the latest performance boosting confidence in the United Kingdom's post-inflation recovery and near-term fiscal stability. Now, the United States government records 36-day shutdown has sparked urgent discussions on reforming fiscal management and protecting essential public services. The prolonged stalemate, driven by unresolved debates over health care and spending priorities, has underscored the need for stronger institutional frameworks to prevent future governance breakdowns. Economic disruptions from the closure have accelerated efforts to strengthen resilience across critical sectors such as air transport, food assistance, and federal workforce support. Policymakers and economic advisors are exploring new legislation to secure uninterrupted funding for essential services while prioritizing transparency in budget negotiations to restore public trust. Experts believe the crisis could serve as a catalyst for long-term administrative reforms. Calls are growing louder for the creation of a fiscal stability mechanism that shields key services during political gridlock, helping the United States to improve government accountability, enhance worker protection, and sustain economic stability in the face of future disruptions. Now, European Union member states have reached a landmark agreement to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 90% by the year 2040 compared with 1990 levels. The deal reinforces the bloc's commitment to global climate leadership and sets a new benchmark ahead of the upcoming COP30 climate summit. The agreement was announced earlier today by Denmark, which currently holds the European Union's rotating presidency, following extensive negotiations among environment ministers in Brussels. The discussions, which began on Tuesday, concluded after several hours of deliberation focused on achieving a united target that balances environmental ambition with economic sustainability. This new goal builds on the European Union's existing climate commitment on a 55% emission cut by 2030 and achieving net zero by 2050. Analysts said the decision positioned the bloc as a leading force in global climate governance while encouraging industries to accelerate their transition plan toward cleaner energy and sustainable production. And now to the world of sports. Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen is set to reach another historic milestone in European football as Galatasaray face Ajax in UEFA Champions League on Wednesday. The 26-year-old forward is just one goal away from equaling Obafemi Martins' record as Nigeria's top scorer in European club competitions with 23 goals. Osimhen currently boasts 22 goals, 12 in the UEFA Champions League and 10 in the UEFA Europa League, and could surpass Martins' tally with a brace against Ajax. His performances have already established him as Nigeria's highest scorer in Champions League history, ahead of Martins, Victor Ikpeba, and Yakubu Ayegbeni. Wednesday's clash will also mark his 50th appearance for Galatasaray and his 20th in the Champions League, placing him one game short of Ikpeba and Celestin Babayaro's record of 21 appearances each. The reigning African Player of the Year has been instrumental in Galatasaray's European campaign, scoring crucial goals against Liverpool and Bodo Glimt, with 43 goals in 49 appearances for the Turkish giant. Osimhen's consistency continues to elevate his legacy, reinforcing his status as one of Nigeria's most outstanding football exports. Still in sports, Rivers Hoopers guard Kelvin Amayo has promised a stronger performance as the defending champions prepare for the 2025 Nigerian Basketball Premier League Final 4 in Port Harcourt. The Nigerian-Canadian star, who scored 17 points in the team's 83-69 win over Kwara Falcons, said fans should expect a bigger show as the Hoopers chase their 7th league title. Amayo, the 2024 NPBL Final Most Valuable Player, returned from fitness issues to deliver a dominant display with 5 assists and 5 rebounds. He revealed that he is regaining full form and expects to peak just time for the championship showdown against Lagos Legends, Boko City Chiefs, and Nigeria Customs between November 20th and 24th. Head coach Ogo Odaudu praised the team's progress but said the players will focus on improving defensive coordination ahead of the finals. He emphasized that discipline and teamwork will be key to retaining the crown, expressing confidence that Rivers Hoopers will rise to the challenge once the competition tips off. Now that's a wrap on the news, but before we go, here's a highlight of the top stories. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited targets 2 million barrels per day crude oil production by the year 2027. The Nigerian Immigration Service announces plans to introduce a new single travel emergency passport to assist Nigerians abroad whose passports are expired. Kenya's private sector expanded its fastest rate since December 2021, marking the second consecutive month of growth driven by strong performance across all industries. And Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney presents first budget outlining a $280 billion Canadian investment plan over 5 years to stimulate infrastructure and defense. And in the world of sports, we did told you that Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen is set to reach another historic milestone in Europa football as Galatasaray faces Ajax in UEFA Champions League. Many thanks for watching. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Super News TV. I am Oyin Priye Krumale. Good afternoon to you.
Well, you already know my name is Steve Omojafor, and my middle name is Bamidele. That was the name that my parents gave me at birth because it was like they regarded themselves as not Lagosians. It is Providence that brought them into Lagos, and I then happened to be born here at Odo Street in Obalende. And in fact, we didn't go to Mercy Hospital then. There was a little home along Odo Street run by a very experienced nurse, Mama Nurse, that's what we, So I was born in that little place and grew up from there. Like I said, my middle name is Bamidele. My parents probably said, well, we have had it here, but this is not home. As at that time, you will go home with us. No problem. So I started off at St. Matthias Catholic Primary School on Louis Street. And I was in St. Matthias from 1953 till 1960 when we finished with our primary school leaving certificate. Then from there, an extra year at Holy Cross School We needed that extra, they call it prep class. Prepare yourself to go to the secondary school. I'm from Holy Cross for 1 year. I moved on to St. Gregory's College, Lagos. Now, growing up in Lagos was one of the best things that happened to us then. Life was good, life was easy, life was safe, life was like everything that a young man could aspire to. We went to school with Scholars Bus, which was virtually provided for free. When Scholars Bus was not available, it was fun walking from Obalende, firstly to St. Matthias, and then from there to St. Gregory's College. Life was good, life was safe. You could go out any time of the day. You could play from house to house. Parents knew each other very well. And so, in fact, when you were late somewhere on your street or in your neighborhood, you could sleep there because they would send a message to your home that Dele is here, so don't bother. The next morning you wake up, have your bath, have breakfast, return to your home. There was this community life that we all lived. Parents could discipline children of their friends, okay? Not like these days, you dare not touch any other child. The parents will come and, do a battle with you. That I didn't send my child to you to be flogged or to be beaten. So it was a very beautiful life. So went to St. Matthias, went to St. Gregory's College, and then from there to University of Lagos. We were our brothers' keepers. School was fun. Teachers were all there just to teach you. There was no messing around. There weren't any bad habits that people could be developing along the line, So that was my life growing up. So we were all walking through Balinde to Lafiaji, to Campus Square, to Tokunbo, Okekpokpo, So we were children of the neighborhood. We were children of the area. So I'm never ashamed to say I'm an area boy in Lafiaji. Today it has become a taboo, but then we were proud of our origin. We were proud of our place of birth, and we were proud growing up in the neighborhood. So today, still believe me, I get up on some Fridays, I just go to Lafiaji, I stay with the guys. Okay, not all of us were fortunate enough to go through the system. Okay, so those who, in quote, we left behind, we still, a lot of the time, we still talk to them. We still relate to them when there are problems that we could fix. We help out. Because, it wasn't their fortune to be able to have gone. I know some dropped out, on their own volition. But generally, we all like the idea of going to school. Some couldn't make it, but we still relate to them. We are still friends. So I'm not surprised I leave Holy Cross Cathedral and I just hear people call me my names. And I know these people are those who knew me when we were growing up. Let me start by saying that even at secondary school, I read a lot. I was interested in the newspapers, and a lot of the time I read something, there was always this beautiful column of letters to the editor. So anything that I read that I liked, I sit down 2-3 paragraphs letter to the editor to compliment what they've done, to criticize what I didn't like, and these things were published, and I liked it. Okay, you open the papers and you just see, contributed by Steve Omojafor, or some will call me Bamidele Omojafor. So that kept me getting interested in the media. So when I left secondary school, after higher school, I would just pay a visit to Daily Times, which was in Tinubu, Kakawa Street. I just pay a visit there, and I got talking to people. They would take me to the newsroom, they would just show me how newspapers are produced and all that. That ignited my interest. So when I left higher school, mass communication was what occurred to me. I know that my uncle, you are not doing accountancy, you are not doing engineering, you're not doing medicine, you want to go and become a newspaper boy. I said, yes, this is where my interests lie. So I got admitted to Lagos University. I studied mass communication there. And while I was there, I developed a column in Lagos Weekend of those days. Every Friday I was contributing. And I was writing under the name of Akinbodilon. Now, Akinbodilon itself is a name that I picked up in a drama group. Because we had a drama group that we produced all kinds of little plays here and there at J.K. Randall Hall, So one of the roles I played was Akinbodilon. So when I started writing my columns in Daily Times and Lagos Weekend, I just used that pen name, Akinbodilon. So I did the program and I started writing for Daily Times campus news, things that happened during elections, battle between the male and female, problems with the tutors and everything. So it became a very regular program. In fact, I inherited the program from late Golabo Ogusawo, who was my boss in the Daily Times. So I did that program for 3 years. It became very popular. It got to a point, Vice Chancellor would call me to say, there's a little thing going on in the university. I hope you have covered it for your paper. And I said, I'm not even employed there. I'm just writing, So I left University of Lagos, had all kinds of jobs that one could do, but I headed for Daily Times because I just had developed a path for myself, and that is journalism. Okay. So while in the Daily Times, worked with the Lagos Weekend, went to Daily Times proper and worked there. I was a columnist, I was a sub-editor, and also a reporter. Combined everything. So that was where my interest grew, and it was very painful when I had to leave the Daily Times organization. And what did I go to? Lintas Advertising. When I walked into Lintas, and I said to the chairman managing director, and I said, I want a job. I said, just like that? I said, yes, sir. Then it was easy to communicate with people. We're not too many, so they listen to you. So he said, what are you doing now? I said, I'm a sub-editor at the Daily Times. So why are you coming to advertising? I want to broaden my space. I want to broaden my experiences. It took about 3 months, and I got a job in Lintas. And I remember Alhaji Babatunde Joseph, when I was going to leave, said, look, Steve, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Lintas. I said, well, we do the same thing. they package programs commercially. Here we do our papers and we go sell, you know. So I said, okay, sir, let me just go gather some experience at Linters. And Linters and Daily Times were just 5 minutes walk from each other. And I said, sir, if the editor needs me for anything, trust me, I will spend my time and money, do write-ups for Daily Times. So I was like working in advertising and still writing for the Daily Times. You know. So that was my life. From Linters, we set up our own company known as Roosevelt Advertising Limited. And Roosevelt, was formed by 3 partners, you know, two friends of mine. 3 of us were at Lagos University at the same mass comm department. So we came out, and I left Daily Times to set up Roosevelt. One of my partners left Cadbury to join us, and Akiodusi left AdMark, another advertising company. So 3 of us came together and we set up Roosevelt. We call ourselves second generation agencies because before then we were the Ogilvy, the Linters, Grant Advertising, and so on. So we set up a small shop in Surulere, and it grew beyond our own imagination. From Roosevelt, we set up a second line agency called McCann, STB McCann. Got affiliated to a company in America, McCann Erickson. So that was how it all went on. Now, I didn't do banking and I didn't work as a banker. The interesting story is that one day, while still at Roosevelt, no, STB McCann then, I got a phone call from somebody I've never met before. And I picked up the call. He said, my name is ABC, blah, blah, blah. And he said, the managing director of Zenith Bank wants to talk to me. So I said, okay, there's no problem. I know I'm not owing any bank and all that. He said, no, he just wants to talk to you. So I picked up, he picked up the line and said, my name is this. I said, my name is this. He said, can we meet? So I said, she, no problem. He said, no. So we agreed to meet. And it got to be that he wanted to appoint a couple of directors for the bank before they went public. And what I said to him was, I'm not a banker. I didn't study finance or economics. He said, no. What I want from you is your name and your integrity. Nothing beyond that. That was the beginning of the story. So I got onto the board, and I learned a lot. You know, I'm somebody who doesn't get to a place and I want to show them what I know or what I don't know. You could make a fool of yourself sometimes. So for me, like the first 6 months or 1 year, was just go to the meeting, listen to them, know where they are coming from, know what the focus is, and know what the expectations are. So I picked it up from there. Gradually, I got into the system. Of course, naturally, buy some books on banking, finance, just read, you know, so at least you know how the banks operate. I've always been a customer of the banks in a very small scale. And all I did was follow the banking trend. You know, there weren't too many banks in Nigeria at that point in time, but I followed through. And that was it. I got onto the board. And somewhere along the line, there was the policy of the central bank. The managing director had to step aside, so to say, the chairman had overspent some time regulated by the CBN. And they approached me and said, you are going to become, being at the board, you're going to become the chairman of the board. I said, me? And they said, yes. I've met a lot of people here, so why me? Anyway, to cut the short story long, I was eventually made the chairman of Zenith Bank. And I was there, I was chairman for 4 years. And then CBN rules changed again. The MD came back, and I was very happy to hand over the bank to him. And I said I was going to leave when he came back. He said no. Statutorily, as he had 2 more years on the board, that no, you got to stay and live out your time. And then, so I did. And after 12 years, I eventually bowed out from the bank and returned full time to my own job, which I've been known for, and that is the media world. Okay, so I get invited for interviews, for programs here and there. Like you said, it's always a good thing. You have something you have learned over the years, you want to impact it on the younger ones, who are coming. I mean, my first son, for instance, went through the media scene, now in advertising, and I go on encouraging them. I retired from active day-to-day operations about almost 15 years ago. But I'm still keeping pace with what is going on around me. Yeah, I mean, the society itself is very dynamic. There's been a lot of changes over time. I mean, I look back to during my own time in the newspaper world, and I can count just about 4 or 5 newspapers then. Okay, Morning Post, Daily Times, The Express, and a couple of others. So we knew each other. We knew the practice, we exchanged news information, we exchanged, if you had a news that was breaking, you want to call up colleagues from other papers, we all go there as a team, right? Because stories will be written from different angles, no matter what you do, So, newspaper was great. And it was so good. In the morning, your byline was there, and people were trying to reach you, about the quality. Quality was good. Quality was good. And there wasn't too much of freelancing in those days, in the newspaper world. So you were either fully employed or you didn't belong. Same thing for radio. For instance, television I didn't do much about. While in journalism and in newspaper world, I was writing for radio, okay? Interesting stories. I had, there was a name to this program, the Oddities, Odd World. So we were picking up things that were odd. People that didn't imagine what they were. It's not something that was very common. So we went on doing that. So newspapers were growing, radio was growing, television was growing, and out-of-home media was also growing. And talk about the dynamism of the system. Suddenly, people were now going out of buying a newspaper every day to sit down and hold it in front of you, trying to read from beginning, from cover to cover. Other forms of communication came on. With the advent of mobile phones, things began to change. In our own time, it was the phone you put on the desk and you were dialing it, a lot of the time you could never get across, okay? Suddenly, mobile phone came onto the scene. And news coverage was transformed completely from what it used to be. Okay? So now people on their phone could reach out, you could touch Germany, touch America, touch all parts of Europe, just sitting down in your office to gather information, gather news, what is new, And then, of course, we now had more television stations, no longer NTA alone, okay? Now, with the news stations, things were just expanding. Things were broadening up, and news gathering became something new altogether, and everybody was heading for a new phenomenon altogether. So today, you don't have to be a big guy to be able to tell your stories. Little children tell their stories, females tell their stories, So really we have moved from the days of waiting to read your newspaper to gather your news. Now, with your phone on your palm, you could do wonders all over. But of course, standard also, in some areas, standard will improve. In some areas, standards will go down. Because the multiplicity of media sources create problems. The kind of quality control we used to have in those days was disappearing. And people can build up stories without even being there to know if it is factual or not. So of course, the turmoil that we are going through in the media space now is better imagined. But I still believe that for those who have structures like the one you are building up now, will enable people to know that you've got to check, you've got to cross-check, okay? We have laws that control what we say, what you do, what you publish. Of course, they are not as rigid as they should be, So in terms of content these days, you have to ensure that you check your facts before you can believe, what they are saying or make any sense out of them. So really it has become all commerce affair. And this is not going to be the end. The explosion is going to continue. Maybe in a few years to come, we're going to have a stronger media control than what we have now. People are building content. You go on YouTube, you go on all kinds of media, and you are getting all kinds. What you hear from your WhatsApp is different from what you're going to get in your YouTube. You go to Instagram. People are selling themselves with all kinds of stories. So really, for me, we've gone through the era of sanity. Yeah? And I hate to say, we've gone into the era where anything you can think of, say it, write it, do it. And for the consumers, it's like you either take it or you leave it. But it's good that we can now reach out much, much widely. Thanks to our mobile news. You talk to people in any village in Nigeria, and suddenly one thing that didn't grab us so early was you open up your Google map, and you don't have to stop people on the street anymore. Show me where I'm going. Just go to the app, and it leads you to the front of the house you are going to. So we have a lot of improvements, and I think it's going to be improving some more. All we just need to watch is to ensure that we remain truthful and we remain factual, so that we don't mislead people on the street, particularly people in the rural areas. One day you just see everybody running helter-skelter because somebody posted a news that is not correct. So we need to watch that and put some more control. But I like the growth in the media space. When I got into the banking sector, I saw myself more as a customer than a board member. I haven't been a journalist, which I still am. I wrote so much about what consumers or customers were going through in the banks. It was the period of tally number, Remember this commercial, where somebody carried a mat. I said, what are you carrying a mat in the bank? I said, I want to lay down here because I know before I get my money, I will have slept once or twice and woken up, So I was very consumer oriented. When I got into the banking system, a couple of times, my board members will ask me, are you on the board or you are still a customer? I said, first and foremost, I want to remain a customer of the bank who will come into the bank and get properly served, who will come into the bank and feel like human, who will come into the bank feeling important, because it's your money in the bank. Even if it's only 1,000 naira, it's your money. You need to be treated with some dignity and respect. And that was my mentality that I took into the board of the bank. I said, listen, I am not too happy the way customers are treated. It is their money, no matter how small. Treat them with respect, treat them with dignity. So they started listening to me after some time. And I said, look, customer service is extremely important. In those good old days, you will hardly hear about customer service in any of the major banks. It wasn't there. But gradually, people started being important. It was more of retail. I mean, yeah, you can deal with the big corporate organizations, but at the same time, it is these poor students, poor market women, people who are out there on the street laboring hard to bring their money. So that was one area I was extremely happy that we developed that area of retail banking and being able to make the consumer the king. Okay? So that was part of it. Then, of course, I said to the bank, I said to them, fine, it is very good to make huge profits, okay? But at the same time, the customers that come in here and from their money we make our profits, let us also consider the kind of interest they get from their deposits. Today, when the banks take your money to deposit, okay? No. When you go to the bank and say, I need assistance, I need a loan, and you tell them, give them all the facts and figures, okay? They will tell you, you are going to pay interest, 20%, 23%. When they take your money to put in the bank, they give you an interest of 2%, 3%, 4%. And I just couldn't live with it. I mean, if you are giving me a loan, you're charging me so much. When I put my money there, it's also a loan to you. Why will you give me with 2 or 3%? And I thought the system wasn't quite right. It was too skewed towards the bank than the customer. So I met a lot of pushbacks, in that area. And I must still say, it's an area I think government should still be interested in. In the civilized world, interest rate hovers between 3%, 5%. In Nigeria, goes as far as. Maybe in Africa, not just Nigeria. I know we are developing, but at the same time, let's develop together. For both those that we are taking in their money and for those we are giving money to. So there'll be some level of balance. So I really worked hard in that area. I may not have fully succeeded. Then I think finally, one other thing that I think I was able to do at the bank is our staff also requires some upliftment. And suddenly, banks started, employing senior people. They started moving people up. They look more at the system now than just ownership. So generally, of course, more banks have come into the scene. A lot of new banks. So people can spread out, and salaries started going up for bankers and all that. But of course, requirements were also extremely high. So generally, I think today we have a much stronger banking system, and we are still going. Now, the bank for a long time have been let loose to do whatever they want to do at the disadvantage of customers, like I started off with. Now, our leaders, and when I say leaders, let me point on just our presidents. The system was such that our presidents could do anything they like with the banks. It was almost an extension of the State House. You just pick up your bell and you ring, and the governor of Central Bank will come shaking because you had the power to bring him in and fire him. So he had to respect everything that the president wants. And it's wrong. This time around, I can say, even in some parts of Africa, you couldn't run the central bank the way we run it here. All the CBN governors wanted to do, please the president, and you are free to do whatever you want to do. And it's wrong. It's wrong. Take even Britain here. Have you ever heard this kind of relationship between the Prime Minister of England and the CBN? No. Everybody has his mandate. In places, in climes like that, the president doesn't call up the central bank governor. Go and do this. Go and do that. Exchange rate should be done. Change your policy to be done. That's part of the problem we've had in this country. So the last government and their CBN just ran this country to their whims and caprices. you leave your monetary policy. In fact, you were running both monetary and fiscal at the same time. You took the Minister for Finance, for instance, and you have no dealings with him or her. You ran their own programs for them, and you did things that they should do, but they couldn't query you because the president, had your back. So a lot of things went wrong. And the result is now here for all of us to see. So look at the changing of our redesign, what they call redesigning of the currency. Now we know there are so many ways you should have done it, but we put politics and added it into our financial and monetary policies. We wanted to do it specifically to change the course of history. And it is wrong. So today, we now know what's happening at the central bank. In fact, if the true story of what went on in the last 8 years was told, I don't know what will be left of this country. You had this little thing in the Constitution that said the government can borrow from the CBN within certain limits. They call it ways and means. But no. And there was a percentage tied to it. You can't do more than 5%. And by the time you're asking for the new one, you should have paid up. We went on piling up. It's like just go and print the money. What Idi Amin used to do in Uganda in those days. That's the kind of situation we found ourselves. Very regrettable. But I believe some sanity will now come into this space. The new central bank has at least outlined its policies. It has also said, let me keep to my monetary policy, which is my area, and leave the paperwork and how they want to run it. People deal with the fiscal area. So we want to change. We think things should change. Now, before now, we borrowed and borrowed without thinking about how are we going to pay? Who are we leaving this debt for? Now we know it's for you and me to still do our work, put in as much money as we can, no matter how little, into the bank, and revive the banking industry. Okay, so the CBN has its own role, and my prayer and my wish is that they will keep their own part of the bargain, leave other people. The Minister for Finance has said it that much. We should. We all know, simple economics. You don't borrow money to pay your debt. You borrow money for production. You borrow money to fix things like your all maintenance and all that. Where our money should be coming from. That's what you borrow money for. You don't borrow money for wastages. You don't borrow money to satisfy your whims and caprices. You don't borrow money to just go out there and waste it. Now, you borrow money to pay back your debt. At the end of the day, we are back lower than where we started off from. So really, my appeal to both the president and his cabinet, particularly those that do with finance, give them some room. You put them there because you think they know what they're supposed to do. Give them the space. If it goes breathing down their neck, At some point, it will just be president said so, president said. Even things that the president did not say, president said so, and it's got to be done. And we are running a country. Even when you run your home, you are able to sit down with your little income and plan. Every day we are being told, if you earn this much, use this little bit, keep the rest in the bank, because you never know about tomorrow. So that's where we found ourselves, and I believe that if everything goes right, we should see massive changes from what it was, the last 8 years. We need drastic changes in the system. My mom in Abalinde used to say to me, when I want to be lazy, he will make sure you do what she wants you to do. And he will remind you that hard work doesn't kill. It is laziness that turns you into an inconsequential human being with no sense of direction. We grew up learning hard work, both in school and out of school. I, for instance, hawked on the streets of Lagos with my mom. You leave St. Gregory's College, now not primary school, St. Gregory's College. You come back. My mother was a textile seller. Got it, probably went to Balogun, pick up. When I come back from school after my lunch, get a basket full of cloth, which I put on my head, and we go from street to street. My mother's carrying her tape rule and another measurement stick, and we'll go around Obalinde, Igoshere, Bamboshe, Oshoji, and we were selling. From there, she graduated to owning a shop in Balogun. When I leave school, I was her accountant, so to say, bookkeeper. All the things they've sold, and make, keep the records and everything. I helped her take the money to the bank. It was Barclays Bank, what was it called then? Yeah, Barclays Bank, before it became Union Bank in Balogun. So I've learned how to trade. I've learned how to make money. I've learned how to deal with customers. Plus that, I was also a bread seller. Somewhere along Strachan Street off Igoshere, there was a big bakery owned by the Lawson family. To be able to get enough bread, you got to get there between 5 and 6 in the morning. Okay? So let me cut it short. We learned to work hard. And that working hard continued with us up to where we are today. We also were very straight-minded in terms of what we wanted to be. We played pranks, so we went out to play football, we went out to, to play with the girls and everything. But at the end of the day, you returned home. And our parents didn't spare the rod. They didn't. You came back later than expected to. They would lie you on the floor and dealt with you. So the combination of the kind of upbringing and the kind of training we went through home probably kept us where we are. And like I said to you before we started the interview, you knew that if you finish your primary school, secondary school is the next thing. If you're secondary school, you don't know what you were going to reading for. Not until probably when you got to the university, did it occur to you, okay, I'm going to choose a profession. But all along, we just did it because that was what the system and environment asks for. So, secret of success, hard work, hard work, hard work. No. I had a father who was very finicky about appearance. When I lived on Igboshere Road, our church was on Louis Street, so to say, walking distance. He taught me how to wear full agbada right from primary school, secondary school. I mean, today, you just wear Buban Shokoto, you go to church. Never was that happening. It's got to be full. Right? Then from there, by the time you got into, I mean, my father died while I was in university. Before then, he was always having this very thin bow tie, not this bigger one, bigger sizes now. Thin, you know? Even when his dress is khaki and khaki, he still had it on. So I admired him, but initially I was on my long time, up till a point, and I look back at some photographs we took when we were in the secondary school, and I thought, no, let me go back to those old days. Some people tell me it makes you look old. I said, I don't mind, you know, but these days I have just acquired that fashion taste, you know, which has suddenly become my, what do you call it? Become what I'm known with. And I enjoy it. And I encourage people, once in a while, put on your bow tie. It makes you look good, makes you look impressionable, it makes you look a serious person, and it makes people take a second look at you. I think number one, parents started sparing the rod. Call it civilization, call it growing up and all that. Parents started sparing the rod because they always whipped us to shape. You knew what was expected of you, and you did it. Because if you didn't do it, your punishment is waiting for you. But as we grew up, I mean, you probably will ask me today, do I use the rod for my children, for instance? And the answer is no. And why it is no is that these days the children look up to you. They are more exposed than what we were. More exposed. They know what daddy does. If you show them a bad example, they will repeat that bad example. If they know that when daddy wakes up in the morning, before he goes anywhere, he needs time to say his prayers. They too, unconsciously, will copy you. If they know that when dad goes out, he comes back certain time. It only come in at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Subconsciously, they too will know there's something that this old man sees that doesn't make him go out all night. So they copy from us. But then, like people say, I don't know how correct it is, that these days people are so busy looking for money. They all over the place. They abandon the home to nannies and housemates and all that. And the children a lot of the time are on their own. But people like you and I, for instance, probably had housemates in the house. You see, but the work that the housemaid does, we were also made to do it. Right? Washing our plates, staying in the kitchen to see how things are prepared. They took us through it, even if you didn't have to do it yourself. And that's why you and I are what we are today. But for the modern young families, most if there's some money to back it up, no, the children don't touch a lot of housework in the homes. They can go out anytime they like. They can wear, you know, I mean, you see some little young girls and what they wear. In fact, even to the church, you want to ask yourself, where did their parents go to see what the children are wearing? Normally the female. Even the guys wearing what they, things they don't use the belt, the trouser would just be somewhere on their hips and all that. Yeah, I mean, we want them to express themselves, but within control. So, wrapping up on that, I'm going to say, yes, we grew up under stronger control. Today's parents are so much in love with their children. They don't want to make them unhappy. You don't want to, pick up a stick and hit them. But I don't quarrel with that. But please be there for them when they need you. And don't be scared to talk to your parents. To talk to your children. No, we should never be scared to talk to them. Because they are not going to take us over. They are our children. So what you don't want them to do, communication, extremely important. Talk to them. Let them, because peer pressure is extremely strong out there. They're mixing with so many guys from much even richer homes who have more to spoil their children with. Now you are a moderate family, your moderate children have to mix and relate and go out with guys with stronger economic background. There is, there is some disconnect there. Let's bring our children closer. Let's talk to them. A lot of parents don't talk to their children, and it's not right. Because the more you talk to them, the more they have that empathy for you. They know you care for them. They know you, because you have been moderately successful, for instance, they too want to be successful like you are, and all you are saying to them, follow my footsteps and you may not go wrong. And don't make wealth, money, the thing that should govern your homes. Don't spoil the children. Give them adequately what we all need to survive, and they will survive. In those days, while all you needed to take to school was 1 shilling. Okay, you still see children from rich homes who came with £1 and stuff like that. But let's be contented. Let's teach the children to be contented with what we have. Families are growing, society is expanding, and we can reach out to any part of the world. Now, we need to bring them closer to the home. At least up till the time that they are leaving you to go and start up there. But as long as they're still within your influence, it's very important that children and their families come much, much stronger together. I'm going to start with sports. I was an avid squash player. Okay, back in school, a bit of football, a bit of tennis and other. But when I started growing up seriously, I loved squash. And I played squash until I was over 50. Okay? And the doctor said, slow down on squash. So today, I do my swimming. Okay? I still do my swimming 2-3 times a week. Okay? And then, of course, I work. You know, there's this thing that keeps on saying, I mean, if all you can do is work for 30-40 minutes a day, okay? And then, of course, I'm an avid fan of football up till today. I wish we could develop a local league so that I could slow down on my European Premier League sessions. So I love football and I love lawn tennis up to now. Now, favorite color, subdued. Okay. Hot colors frighten me. Okay. And if you have to do it, just make it minimal. When I pick my dress, for instance, you got to know you want the kind of shirt you want to wear to match the color of the tie you want to use, to match the color of your suit, so it doesn't run riot. So it's extremely important. And I said to my friend, just Google it. What color matches this and what color matches that, you know, so you don't become like a Christmas tree, you know, on the road. That was the third one, food. I grew up enjoying my eba and amala. Growing up from Obalinde, okay? So I do my eba, I do my amala. Rice, occasionally. But then these days, from age 70 upwards, oh, the doctors are screaming, watch what you eat, what the quantity you eat. So my wife draws up a weekly timetable. Monday is this, Tuesday is that, Wednesday is that, and she manages to mix up a slightly heavy one and a slightly lighter one so that you have a good mix. With age, you cut down on a lot of things. Cut down on your booze, cut down on your champagne, you cut down on your wine, you cut down on your salt. In fact, it's like they're punishing us. But then they say that is the way to go, to be able to at least live longer and enjoy more of life.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Offences-Related Commission (ICPC) convened a one-day capacity-building workshop in Lagos aimed at strengthening accountability, transparency, and integrity across Nigeria's local government councils. Held under the theme, The Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption, the workshop was jointly organized in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Justice, Fiscal Responsibility Commission, Bureau of Public Procurement, Code of Conduct Bureau, and the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity, with support from the EU-funded Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program. The initiative was designed in response to the recent judicial pronouncement reaffirming local government as an independent tier of government.
State governments are prohibited from receiving funds allocated for local government.
Its objective was to equip local officials with knowledge and practical tools necessary for effective governance, compliance with procurement standards, and improved service delivery at the grassroots level.
Some could be deceived as it were to But what is more important is that we all have a task to ensure that that autonomy granted to the local government, with the authority of government, is not abused.
The Supreme Court's affirmation of local government autonomy is a monumental victory for all of us. It grants grassroots democracy. It grants you the power to truly drive whatever development you think you can impact on your people. However, great power demands great responsibility. Autonomy without accountability is obviously a recipe for fiscal disaster. For us at Fiscal Responsibility Commission, FRC, which is part of this coalition that is going from state to state to educate the operators, it's very key that we learn how to plan.
Or a task, that duty that you have been entrusted with in that your office, you are the one responsible for it. If you don't do it well, if you allow yourself, like my brother said, your village people, to make you to read procurement, to make you to collect bribe, to make you to spend outside budget. We have Boko Haram. Haram is what? Abomination. We have also fiscal haram. Are you aware? There is a concept called fiscal haram, and that is number one. Fiscal haram is any expenditure that's not budgeted. Spending government money without a budget is number one fiscal what? Haram.
The participants engaged in interactive discussions and team exercises, explored case studies on corruption prevention, accountability frameworks, and interagency collaboration. They also participated in a question and answer section focused on addressing challenges and exploring practical solutions to enhance public accountability in local government systems. At the end of the workshop, participants expressed satisfaction with the quality of content and delivery, highlighting the relevance of the sessions to their daily administrative responsibilities. Organizers reaffirmed that the Joint Agency Initiative forms part of Nigeria's ongoing national anti-corruption agenda aimed at institutionalizing transparency, promoting fiscal responsibility, and strengthening governance structures at the grassroots level.
The Eyo Festival, also known as the Adamu Orisha, is a traditional Yoruba festival unique to Lagos Island in Lagos State, the center of excellence. It is one of the most iconic cultural events in Lagos and serves as both a spiritual ceremony and a public spectacle. Eyo dates back to the 19th century, though original traditions suggest its origin may be older. It began as a rite of passage for the transition of a diseased Oba or High Chief in Lagos. In today's special report, Bayo Olaoye traces the antecedent and the genesis of this renowned cultural event. The first recorded Eyo Festival was held in 1854 to commemorate the passing of Oba Akintoye. Over time, it also became a celebration for the installation of a new Oba or to honor prominent Lagosians. The Eyo Festival is rooted in Yoruba religion and spiritual practices, specifically those of the Orisha cult. It is particularly associated with the Adamu Orisha, a deity representing ancestors and spiritual guardians. The Eyo Festival is essentially a masquerade festival. The masqueraders are called Eyo, and each represents a spirit of the ancestors. These Eyo figures are customized in flowing white robes with large hats and face coverings. They carry opas, known as batons or staff, used to generally discipline those who break festival rules. The Eyo Festival can also be described as a spiritual cleansing of the land and people and used to escort the soul of a deceased noble into the afterlife. It invokes blessings and peace for the community, purges the city of evil spirit and misfortunes. The festival is organized by 5 major Eyo groups or Igas, also known as palaces, each with its own color and significance. Eyo Adimu, black, is housed in Iga Adimu. Eyo Laba, which is recognized by its red